Welcome to the Noi Clinic. Tennis elbow is a metaphorical label for pain on the outside of the arm around the elbow region. The scientific literature on it isn't that much help. It's hard to find good readings on the causes, what tennis elbow actually is, and appropriate treatment. But let's leave the science for a while and focus on the person in front of us. People with lateral elbow pain are often sensitive when the shoulder is internally rotated and the forearm pronated. This pain will have contributions from both the peripheral and central nervous systems. In the peripheral nervous system, this could be changes in the radial nerve and its roots, and in the central nervous system, changes in the neuroimmune representation of the elbow, the area of the elbow and the brain, and the meaning of the elbow and its rich context for that person in their brain. Here is our basic test, beginning from the shoulder girdle first. Shoulder depression, elbow extension, internal rotation, and then wrist and thumb flexion. In this position, many techniques can be done, and I'd just like to show you some of our favourite slider movements. Okay, in this position here, I'm just going to bring the shoulder down, and I want you at the same time to look up. Look up. Feel how the shoulder comes right into my hands, gets longer, and that's a lovely movement there, moving, gliding all tissues up here, draining some of that fluid, draining the swamp of fluid up there. And you can feel how different it is if I get you to tuck your chin in now and I pull the shoulder down, it just doesn't want to go. But all this lovely movement now when you look up and down. Another example of a slider would be in this position here, just the same. Let the arm come long and look up and down. Let the arm come nice and long and down. And that's getting lovely movement right through the radial net in the arm. And one final one is simply to extend the elbow out at the same time as you looking up. Can you look up and down? Look up and down. Up and down. Over many years, we recommended techniques in this position. For example, in this neural load position, techniques, for example, of soft tissue work on muscle, or coming in and even wriggling the head of the radius. Now, while I'm sure this does something for the soft tissues here, I think it does far more for the representation in the brain. This is a challenging position, a somewhat threatening position. Made less threatening, of course, by the context in which you perform it in. But in this position here, I would think I'm offering some nice, novel, safe input into the neuroimmune representation in the brain, which is gratefully receiving it and probably in a very therapeutic way. These movements can and must be taken into active, meaningful exercises. And this is graded exposure. Graded exposure is a combination of increasing the kind and number, intensity of exercise, but it also and critically includes doing them in different contexts. Now we've got hundreds of these activities and exercises. We've done a DVD on these exercises, but we would just like to show you some of our favourites. Fran, some nice gentle activities. I'd like you to imagine your arm is like a ribbon. Like swing the ribbon and a lovely figure of 8. It's a nice movement of the whole radial nerve complex and beautiful input into the brain. And now just a simple one. Just look at your elbow, at the back of your elbow. Just look at it and come back. Just look at it and come back. And another really simple one is I'd like you now to put your hand behind your back and put this part of your hand here on your back. So you come back like this. It's like a bow, right? That's a really nice, safe movement. It comes to a safe position. You can't hurt yourself at all. And these can be taken into more stronger, aggressive movements. Imagine you have a sword in your hand and push forward and twist. That's it, push forward and twist. That's it, more aggressive, stronger movements. You might feel a little bit of a pulling here, but that's okay. There'll be no damage done. That's quite a normal response. And the more you push down to the floor, it'll be a little bit more aggressive. Any of these movements can also be changed and done in different contexts. You could do it at different times of the day, in different places, from safe to less safe places, maybe at work where you had the injury. You can make it fun. There's some old dances like this. Can you remember some of those? Yeah. Flamenco dance and getting a bit of rhythm and movement going. Do it with different people. And think of metaphors or stories. That's like stabbing the dragon, isn't it? Stabbing it. Push forward, as though you're putting a sword into someone. Beautiful. This is the politician's tip, isn't it? Have a look at the politician's tip. Yes. Nice. And of course, the more knowledge you do it with, as we've been through the story, these movements here will be gratefully received by the brain if you fully understand and you are happy that the movements, even though they might be a little bit painful, are not causing you any harm at all. But perhaps finally, perhaps my favourite exercise has been this. Have a look at your hand. Right? Now look at your hand behind your elbow. Can you see your thumb? Give it a bit of a wriggle. Come back again and get a bit of a rhythm going. Get a bit of a rhythm going. That's it. In this position, it's a neurally non-aggressive movement because it's a slider. My head is coming over, looking at the hand. It's beautifully distracted because you're looking at your thumb each time. And if the movement is non-painful, okay, it's reinforced in the brain that it's okay. And of course, if you can link that into any dance movements or fun activities you've done in the past, great. Well done, Fran.
Excellent.
And so in summary, tennis elbow is only a metaphor. Think what this might mean for you and your patients. The sensitization in this internal rotation movement will be from peripheral and central sources, and you can manage both. And finally, check out the links in the description for more information. See you next time.